Hello and welcome to Skeindeer Knits. My name is Ellie and I am a Norwegian living and knitting in London. And you can find me on Instagram as Skeindeer, and I am Skeindeer Knits as a designer on Ravelry. And of course there's the Skeindeer Knits Ravelry group, which is the best place to take part in knit-alongs and giveaways and just get in touch and be part of the Skeindeer Knits community. Yeah, it's business as usual here. I am, as I've said at the beginning of every episode, for a very long time in the midst of completing a PhD, and I'm putting my mind into that more so than into Skeindeer Knits, but every so often I do find the time to make an episode, and I will certainly grab that opportunity. I just always feel like explaining up front that whilst I'm sometimes able to create a little bit of output, I am awfully sorry that I'm not always able to deal with the input from the world. So I hope this finds you well in this weird time that we all find ourselves in. I'm not going to get super into the more kind of upsetting, depressive parts of that stuff. I'm just kind of probably going to crack jokes so that we can all feel just a little bit better about things and just find the silver linings here and there, because wow, what a time to wow. Anyway, what is this? What this is a knitting podcast, sometimes maybe better described as a knitting talk show. Clearly I'm doing a lot of talking, so yeah, not so much knitting yet. I will be getting to that in just a bit. I have a lot of projects to cover and I've actually finished one thing just now, so that's exciting. But yeah, I did want to touch a little bit upon the situation. So as you all know, I am running the Skeindeer Knits garment KAL, and it's going to run for the duration of the whole year. As for prices for the Submitting Club, I will be announcing that when the whole isolation pandemic thing calms down a little bit, so I can at least promise that I will be able to send those things out to the winners. But yeah, I wanted to thank everyone for receiving my Bunad shawl so well. I got a lot of nice words about it, so thank you. Where did I put it even? There we are. I should be wearing it now, but it's actually quite sunny, and whilst it's cold and windy outside, the sun does heat up my room considerably. But I'll just put it on a little bit just to show, because I am very, very, very proud of this shawl. It's in all its simplicity. It's exactly what I wanted. It's exactly what my wardrobe needed. It's just... yeah, so using quite fine yarn, sort of fingering to sport weight, woolly wools. I used, I think, a 6mm needle. I think that's a US 10, don't quote me on that. So you know, it's a quick knit and it's got lots of fringe frills things. So anyway, why am I talking about the shawls? Why am I talking about the KALs? Because of the whole situation where we're all suddenly finding ourselves stuck at home, and a lot of people are finding themselves in kind of situations of financial hardships and uncertainty. We don't really know what's happened. Like, I've got friends who have been laid off because there's just no work to go to. And I was gonna, you know, pull down the discount for the shawl pattern and kind of call it a day and, you know, thank you guys. And I also think, like, I am extremely lucky to be doing this. Like, I, whilst also affected by this financially in all other ways, I still have my business online. Like, it's an online based business. I am so lucky, and I'm not sitting here to gloat. I'm just kind of like, oh my god, right now I am so appreciative, more than ever. So instead of like pulling down the discount, I actually thought, just put up all the discounts, just discounts all around. So what I have done, actually, I made 3 discounts. Yeah, I know, wild. So there's a I'm gonna link to my Instagram post below where I've written it all out. You can access that in any web browser. You don't need to have Instagram for it, I promise you. Just click the link and you can read it, basically. I made a 20% discount code that you can apply across the board to all of the patterns and collections into my shop. That's pretty straightforward, you're probably familiar with that. But I've also made a 30% discount code, which is applicable if you buy 3 patterns or more. Right, that's pretty explanatory. But then I also made a 40% discount code, which is applicable if you buy 4 items or more. And it stops there, I promise. So it's just depending on like where you're at, what quantities you want, how much you feel like you got. It's just like up to you, basically, is what I'm trying to say. Because we're all in different situations. Some people may feel like they need that sort of thing to be able to access knitting patterns and spend all this time knitting and feeling calm and all the benefits of knitting, whereas others maybe feel like they want to give back and they are in a more secure place than say I am, and they want to give back, and it's all kind of going to work out for everyone, I think. And I thought it may also make a lot of you guys able to participate in the Skeindeer Knits garment KAL. Not that we're short of participants, but we could always use more. So I thought at least then you can like get 4 garments in one go. Like it's wild. It's a thing. So that's a weird plane. That is not a normal plane. We don't have, like, we have blue skies. Like I'm trying like not to be like happy about the situation. I'm not, but again, looking for the silver linings. The sky is so blue in London. I've never seen it this blue in London before, because there's so much less pollution, because people aren't going around so much. There's not much airplane traffic. I'm just like, is this London? Which does mean we have to cope with the whole sunlight situation more than ever, but at least it's stable. Like, it's pretty actually. Anyway, I'm getting very much distracted by all sorts of things that I can now see. Now there's no haze outside anymore. So yeah, that was basically all that I wanted to say about that. So thank you all as ever for your ever support. I hope to be able to kind of give maybe a bit back to you guys. And yeah, that's all I have to say about all sorts of admin things. And now we are just going to talk about knitting. It is a lot of the same project as last time, but just with a little bit more progress. So actually, before we get into what I've knitted on, I forgot to put this into my notes. A good thing I remembered. As I covered last time, the editors and photographers of Lane magazine were in London to photograph the designs in the upcoming 10th anniversary Knit with Attitude book. Knit with Attitude is one of my local yarn shops, and is really the yarn shop where a lot of Skeindeer Knits designs started. And they asked me if I wanted to put a design in their book, and I was like, yes, yes. And I did, and I have finally been able to show you guys everything. The design, because Knit with Attitude and the Lane ladies have put up the photo, and can you even it is so gorgeous. It's absolutely phenomenally gorgeous. Like the photography, the model, the fact that it's photographed in Abney Cemetery Park, which is one of my favourite areas of London that I will always drag unassuming visitors to, and they go, this is a cemetery, this is weird, but also it's so beautiful there. Yeah, so I'm really in awe of that. The yarn I used is Blonde by Hillesvåg, which is a chunky pelt wool yarn. We're going to talk about pelt wool in just a bit, but I just thought I'd tell you about an upcoming design that's going to come in that book, and I do believe, unless I'm wrong, which I don't think I am, that it's going to come out in July, which is sooner than I thought. I thought it was after summer, but no, July, which is, oh, so keep your eyes peeled for that. Obviously I will try to inform you of all sorts of things. And yeah, whilst I'm thinking about the topic of informing you, I alluded to this like ages ago, that I wanted to start a newsletter, and then I never got around to it because admin. That's still an issue, but I am thinking of it now again. It may happen. Stay tuned for that as well, and then maybe you don't have to stay tuned for so many things anymore, because it's just going to come into one, hopefully not too often, email. That would be something. That's something I can't believe I haven't done yet. Anyway, just some thoughts I'm having, but you probably want to see the knitting that I've been hinting about, or not so much hinting really, but I have knitting, and I just finished a garment this morning. I mean, it's still morning. This is hopefully why the sun is not going to come into my face whilst recording, but you never know. It's the law of the podcast. So anyway, I will show you what I have finished. Now, this is not blocked. It is not, it doesn't have buttons on yet. I haven't even sewn in the little ends from the crochet steek thing, but everything else has been woven in and is done, and isn't it pretty? Isn't it so, I mean, look at the colors here. Just look at the depth. The depth. I really hope it's focusing because there's no way I can really make sure. Oh, oh. I haven't actually put it on yet. Maybe I should put it on now. Because I just cut it open last night. I was just watching some people doing live streams of Instagram now, and a lot of people doing Instagram live streams, by the way, so that can be a reason to pay some attention to that. Okay, I lied. I have not woven in the ends in the cuff. Sorry. Oh, this is nice and way too warm right now, but yeah, I'll just get up and show you. So made it a bit shorter than the pattern suggested because that's what I do. It's the kind of my preferred length. If it goes above like my full hip, I'm gonna have to put in increases because I have like just huge proportionate differences, and you don't need to hear about that. Yeah, these are the ends of the crochet thing that I was about to weave in, but then I thought, you know what, I've got to record now because otherwise we're gonna have an incident with the sun again. We don't want that. But yeah, this is pelt wool. This is Tinder, which is more like their DK weight, I'd argue, pelt wool. So blonde is more the Aran to chunky way, and this is more of a, yeah, the DK. And then Sully is there more sort of fingering weight, I would argue. Some would say sport. I don't make the rules. In Norway we have no rules, but I've talked about that a lot, haven't I? So there's that. I absolutely love this cardigan. I've said that, haven't I? So what's there to say? It is knitted top down. A lot of Tina Höglund's patterns are. This is Emblas Mammajakke by Tina Höglund, which is more commonly known as Strikkesilla. Very prolific designer in Norway. She's got a lot of books, and has donated considerable prizes to the podcast in the past, so you know, we remember that too. But I just really wanted this when I saw that she's knitted up this cardigan into this particular yarn and colours, because her original was in some shades of orange in PT2 yarn, which is now kind of merged into Finul. But when I saw this, I had to have it, and I think this is going to be a staple in my wardrobe pretty quickly. It just needs, like I said, a block and some buttons. It is very tempting to put on some like classic Norwegian silver buttons. Like, they're not real silver, but you know, they're shiny. I really would like to see that. I think that's gonna, you know, fit the aesthetic. And yeah, I just keep holding it out because I'm so excited about it. It does not have any particular shaping to it in any way. No waist shaping, no shoulder shaping, no bust arch, just nothing. It's just like a very straight silhouette, oversized. You know, that's kind of the kind of stuff that my wardrobe needs at times, for sure. I did toy with the idea of doing like an afterthought short growth into here, see if I can sneak it in. I would have done that in hindsight, but I think it's a bit of work to do that. So I say afterthought, I've never actually done this, I don't think anyone has. But if you were to do it, I should think it would follow the same kind of logic as an afterthought heel. Only you have to graft the last bit, because you're not doing a heel, are you? So that's, yeah. But I think this is fine. I think I'm quite happy with how it fits just from trying it on now. Yeah. Oh, it's just really nice. I have a little tale of not woe, but like tension. Like it was tense. It was I was playing yarn chicken galore. I knew I was doing that. When I bought the yarn, I was like, yeah, sure, this will be enough. I'll make it work, because I don't want to have a lot of leftovers, because I do have that. And I thought, okay, there will be enough blue. I was sure it's going to be enough of the kind of light blue, and this is plenty. I wasn't ever worried about the blue. I had to really like measure just how much grey I'd have left. So when I wasn't sure that I had enough left just to do the bottom bit of the body here, like it's time to do the colour work, so there's a bit of grey in there, I need to save up some. I just leaned on the safe side, and yeah, I made a good call there. There wasn't a lot left. I could have done a couple more rounds, but better safe than sorry in that regard. But the dark blue. When I saw Tina's project, I knew that she'd used a bit more than one skein in the dark blue, and I thought I can push that under. I can make that work. I can totally do that. And I did that by essentially making the cuffs a bit shorter. I talked about that last time. They aren't full length, so I thought I'd save a bit on that. And then I thought, you know what, they don't have to be that long for the bottom rib either. So I saved in a bit of that, but this was when I was starting to get nervous and it was looking like I had a lot less left than I thought. So I was like, it is a bit short, this bottom rib, but it's just gotta be that way. And I did the bottom band simultaneously so that I was very sure of how much, or shall I say little, I'd have left, because I really had very little left at this point. I was really sure for most of the time that my bottom bands would just be a couple of rows each. But I have been able to cram in, I think, 6-7 rows. Was that 3, 6, 7? Yeah, 7 plus like a kind of double bind off that kind of is incorporating a row in and of itself. And you know what? This isn't bad. This is probably half the bottom band I would normally prefer to have, personally. But given all the ease in this garment, the fact that it's quite oversized, doesn't really have much consequence, does it? So yeah, they are smaller than I would like, but I won yarn chicken. I certainly won yarn chicken, so let's see how much there is in this one. Let's just open it. Okay. I think we got a meter. Some meter here. So if I hold it double, do I get a prize or what? This is like majestic yarn chicken. Right, now it's four strands at once. I'm really pleased with myself. Anything to avoid that second skein to get, you know, leftovers and stuff, and it is kind of flopping up now, so I'm hoping this is just going to block it down. I'm just going to toss this in the washer. I talked about washing non-superwash in the washing machine before. The way I do it as of right now is to put it in and wash it either on a delicate cycle or a wool cycle. On my machine I tend to always choose the delicate because I know for sure that that's going to be at 30 Celsius or centigrade temperature. You don't want to go above 30. I used to be very careful about the spinning. I would have just no spinning so that it came out completely soaked. I have since become braver and I'm now putting on full spinning, because then it just gets tossed around like a, you know, centrifuge. There's no movement. It just tosses out the water. Just don't go for anything in between. Either go for 0 or all the way. That's my main advice there. After that, it actually comes out not too wet and it can dry up pretty quickly. So that's the plan. So far that's never let me down. The only time I've accidentally felt that something was when I accidentally put on the wrong program, because my washing machine has this kind of wheel that you really have to like bend down and look at it straight ahead to know that you are choosing program 4 and not program 5, say. But yeah, not bad in terms of leftovers. And I have a new garment and I get to use up some of my bottom stash because it's a bit of a stash. So yeah, en blå sommarjacka, very pleased with it. Definitely something that I'm happy to have in my wardrobe, along with a new shawl. And I have now a Bound Off 10 project in 2020, and I've cast on 9 in 2020. So we're one project ahead, but I'm really feeling castanitis now that I have to spend so much time at home, as we all do. So yeah, I mean, it was kind of like working from home that made me do so many cast-ons, because you could just get a cheeky one in the morning or in the evening, and now I've been going to work a lot more. Obviously now that's been taken away from me, so that's actually not true. I could still go to work because I have my complete own separate space and I could walk there. I wouldn't really be, you know, in touch with anyone, but it's, you know, in solidarity I'm hanging out here. So that's that. And yeah, I was also gonna say, when I was talking about, you know, there's a lot of people who are posting, and myself included, you know, support small businesses. Obviously first priority in mind in line is keeping people healthy, keeping all of us from being, you know, ill or just catching the virus so we don't pass it on to people who could get severely ill and die. So that's always priority, but obviously beyond that, people are talking a lot about supporting small and local businesses, and I'm very much in favour of that, but also recognise that we are, a lot of us, not in a situation to support everyone, and we're just like, oh, I can't save them all, and then we just feel a bit powerless, and then we just go, oh, I can't save them all. So I've always tried to remind myself, okay, who do I want to see on the other side of this? Who do I want to see still existing? Which of my local coffee shops do I want to see still there when we are back? You know, my favourite band has had to cancel their tour and suffered severe financial losses. I'm gonna buy merch from them. My local yarn shops have had to close their doors or actually have to keep open despite they're bringing no customers because they can't afford the financial risk of closing. I'm gonna make online orders from them, you know, like I keep thinking those kinds of things. I can't support everyone, but I'll do my little bits here and there just to kind of make sure that those who I want to see on the other side are still around. So that was my little sort of positive, optimistic things we can do instead of falling into despair and costinitis. Anyway, I do have some works in progress. They are the same ones as last time except one, because I cast on one, because now we've gone from 8 to 9 cast-ons. Yes, so what's the progress with those I showed you last time? Well, the Calibrate sweater by Alex of Spindles and Stitches has now got a sleeve. Not a very finished sleeve, but it is a sleeve I had to do twice because I just had the wrong row gauge and just didn't work, and I had finished decreasing way before the sleeve was done, and I thought I'll just redo it and just shove in some more rows, because if I can't get row gauge, that's on me, because row gauge is just really hard to influence. So I did that and it's worked out really well, but the skein is done, so I'm gonna have to join another skein. They're 50-gram superwash skeins, so it's just a bit of, it's going to be a lot of ends basically. So therefore I started the other sleeve. So I'm pretty sure I just split the third skein between the two sleeves, and then I'll have sleeves, and then the body really isn't that far off. I do think maybe I bought more or too little yarn than I need. I don't remember, but it's just going to be a very nice basic sweater to have in my wardrobe in my favourite ever colour. The yarn is PT5 Sport from Norway. I jokingly say that's the only yarn weight we have, and it's really not a lie. So that's just what this is. Very simple, basic superwash wool nylon blend. Little bit too heavy on the nylon side for garment for my taste, but it's also very affordable and probably going to be very durable as well. As for Kosekov, the sweater, which I've just called it, maybe I should call it Kose sweater, but then, or Kosegense, but then that's sweater hug, it's just Norwegian. Didn't think about that. I just want to say that I finished the body. So I'm now looking into splitting, well, not splitting actually, but just putting in a steek for the sleeve holes, because it's gonna have that. The body's done, it's just a lot of spots, white dots all around, and it's been a really nice knit that I could just bring with me anywhere and just knit on while doing live streams on Instagram and that sort of thing. So don't have much else to say about that. I'm using Susan Crawford Axelana DK that I was given to make this design. I hope I have enough, and that's really all there is to say about that. It lives in this gorgeous project bag from Butternut Handmade. Yes, I remember this time. And I love it. It's just so inviting, this project. That was really quick, wasn't it? There's not a lot to say, just knitted a bit longer since last time. Whoa, exciting. So now I'm sure you're wondering, what is the new cast on? Well, to tell you that, I have some exciting news to announce. You're probably gonna see a lot more baby knits on this channel in the future, because I am expecting to become an auntie. You thought I was gonna say I'm expecting. I'm not. This is not happening. You know, I'm doing a PhD, but my baby sister is up the duff, so we're gonna gonna have a little baby in the family. We haven't had that for 20 years. Yeah, my young cousin has dared to become an adult and then some. So we are getting a tiny person in the family, and therefore all the baby knits are happening. And I'm like, well, we got a model sorted now, you know, in 6 months time or whatever, but I'm basically just cranking through the designs. I'm opening up the spreadsheet. I'm doing stuff I really don't have time to be doing, but if I show you the thing I made, you're gonna understand why I couldn't help myself. So I come pretty far. I could have been done if it hadn't been for the fact that sizing, grading information about baby garments is really hard to come by. Babies can be like infinitely long, so you don't know how long to make it. So the grading has halted a little bit because I want it to be perfect. But I have made it so far, and this is so cute. This is so cute. It's indeed a ultra romper. I cannot even. So as you can see, the shoulders are not attached. There's like a tiny little buttonhole that's like part of the, when you pick up for the back neckline, if you will, that you basically just hook over here and just button the front to the back. Yeah, like that. So that should just sit on pretty well. And there's no sticky involved. There's a lot of working flat, but I thought it's such a small piece, I can deal with that. The color work is still in the round. This is the Ultra chart that I'm sure you recognize. That's why I also kind of replicated the folded over neckline from the Ultra sweater here, whereas you have the full rib along the armhole. So we're also going to have that along the leg holes, and I'm now just trying to grade for those leg holes because they came out too small when I did the maths. So working on that. It's so cute. And luckily me and my sister have like big agreements about, you know, the style we're going for. She wanted something quite retro, and well, I think this is it. Using a light blue by Navia. This is Navia Duo that I've used a lot. This is all equivalent to Phenol. And also using a bit of PT2, good old PT2, which is the contrast colour. I think I used that colour, that particular skein, for my Miss Rachel's cardigan and gauntlets, which is basically just mitts. So yeah, non-superwash wool for baby garments. Apparently controversial, but I thought I could spend a moment talking about why you should use those yarn. Not just why you could, but why you should. So the first most obvious thing is obviously that wool is warm. We all know that wool is warm and it breathes. Like anyone who's worn say a woolly jumper compared to acrylic jumper, know that they're both quite warm. But I don't know about you, when I take that acrylic jumper off, I am stinky. Yes, we've already talked about how stinky I'm in the past episodes. We don't need to go there. But it just is very breathing and sort of a self-regulating kind of magic fabric. The weird magic thing about wool is that it has this ability to just absorb moisture and humidity without ever really feeling soaked. Like it can contain so much water and still feel relatively dry, and whilst it is wet it can still keep you warm. And the wool has this ability to transport moisture away from the skin so that, you know, it prevents any issues to do with skin bacteria, infections, anything like that. So it's often very popular in Norway to wear kind of like wool pants outside of your diapers to kind of, if there were to be any, you know, problems, then the wool will take care of it so that the baby doesn't get, you know, any skin irritations. So it's just magic. And like I said earlier, like wool has temperature regulating properties. We often think about how wool keeps you warm, and it has a very isolating effect in the winter, whereas in the summer you can actually wear very thin light wool garment and it will actually be a fabric that breathes a lot and again regulates temperature. Also something I keep wanting to emphasize, I always do, wool is not flammable. It is kind of the opposite. Often is used in places where people want to avoid fire spreading, like, you know, airplane cabinets. So again, compared to like synthetic material that are highly flammable, wool is a lot safer. And my favorite thing about wool personally is that it has self-cleansing properties. That sounds really like hazy and all over the place, but wool kind of just likes to rinse itself. Like, unless we actually get any actual literal spillage, you know, anything from puke, anything in that area on this garment, it doesn't need washing. You just air it out in the wind and it just cleanses itself. And I've already talked about how you could potentially actually wash in the machine, and it's just contrary to popular belief. Very easy to clean. Most of all, it will clean itself, but even when it doesn't, very easy to keep clean. It doesn't need superwash treatment the way you know, that was the case in the past when washing machines were relatively new. And as I was just kind of researching this stuff a little bit, you know, trying to compare using wool for children in Norway versus the UK where I live, like apparently 93% I think of Norwegian women use wool on their babies. 93%, that's like the vast majority. Whereas apparently there's, in like British homes, only a third of how many wool garments we keep for children in Norway they have in the UK for their children. Like a third of wool garments. So I would highly recommend people to use wool more. It's not just for cold weather. It's got all these amazing properties that are beneficial. It's not just like, oh, it's okay, you can use wool if you use it. It's like actually something to be encouraged, and it's been a kind of massive return to wool in Norway. I think a lot of people like just think that that's like very new and weird and different, but like historically, if you look in a broad perspective, we wouldn't be anywhere without wool. In the UK or Norway, same thing. We wouldn't be anywhere without wool. That's what's kept us warm, obviously, clothed, dressed. I'm a big enthusiast about this, if you can't tell. So that's a bit of wool advocacy for today, which is why you will be finding that I will be making a lot of garments in pure wool, as we so often do where I'm from, but I also would like to just encourage other people to do that. But they will also be suitable for other wools if you insist. So this one, like I said, will not have any steeking, so you could potentially use any yarn at all. I have another plan in mind that will have one little steek, but you know what, one steek, that's pretty contained for me. So just trying to hold back on the ideas, really, which, I mean, why even hold back? So I am very excited. We're gonna, you know, have a new member of the family, and hopefully, you know, a new work for free model of Skeindeer Knits. And I know my sister's very excited to get this particular garment. So yeah, that's the happy news from the world of Skeindeer Knits, you know. It's not all super, you know, it's some things are good. So last thing I've got to talk about in this very sort of rather shorter episode than usual is acquisitions. I've obviously not been into a yarn shop in a while, and it's tempting to go and do a little bit of online shopping, and I think I will, to support a couple of businesses and just, you know, feed the stash. It's like a sourdough agent. You gotta so what I did get in the mail, which is in the bottom of my pile here, is the second volume of Strikk med gradienter, Knit with Gradients by Ninapetrina. I was in volume 1, and I would have loved to be part of volume 2 had it not been for the fact that I am, you know, a student who needs to finish her thesis ASAP. But it was something we were in talks about, and I was like, I can't, I'm sorry, I want to, but I can't. But I had to order it, obviously, to see all the beautiful patterns that are in here. And yeah, they're amazing. I mean, look at that. And I can't be spending too much time showing you everything, but there are some things in here that I actually cannot get over. I mean, I hope you can see this, because... And this is another one, also by Lena Tussi. She did both of those, and I'm just like, okay. So, as yeah, as ever, I do think this is only in Norwegian. You could obviously get in touch with Ian and ask about translation issues, but I don't know. I have not seen any signs that this is in English. It may be available for purchase digitally on Ravelry. Again, I'm not sure. That was the case with the previous one, but I can't promise that. This is just something I purchased for my own enjoyment, and I wanted to show you guys because I think it's amazing. Even just look at the sweater at the back. Look at that. Very shiny. Yeah. So that's my only acquisitions this time, you know, been good-ish, arguably. I do have a lot of thoughts and stuff about things, but most of all I just kind of hope that people can keep, you know, spirits up, find nice things to do at home. And you know, those of us who are watching this, who probably are most of you, we're knitters. We prepared for this. We got this. You got this. I can appreciate that for many people it's quite difficult with whatever circumstances that they're in to be indoors. I particularly am not particularly keen on being home with others. I like to be home alone. So it is, you know, it's just different situations, but honestly for me the situation hasn't changed dramatically. I am still working on my thesis. I'm still just knitting. So if anything, it's been quite nice to have people's company and all that. Like now suddenly lots of people are available for webcam chats and live streams. It's yeah, it looks like people have entered my world of being an eternal student working from home. So that's, you know, again, silver linings. My favorite restaurants is suddenly now available on delivery because they can't obviously have visitors. I'm like, amazing, I might just make another order today. So, you know, I just try to take the good with the bad, honestly. Just appreciate the stillness, the blue skies. Just get a little takeout, you know, indulge. So I hope you're all taking care. I am kind of probably indulging a little bit more in the podcast world now and hoping to provide a little bit of knittertainment. Oh my god, did I just say that? For you guys, so that you're not, you know, that bored. So hopefully I will see you guys soon, and happy knitting, and yeah, see you next time. Bye.